Hi everybody, we're going to do some guided reading now, and we are going to start, we're going to move on from our explain, and we're going to start to look at, sneeze, gone. We can start to look at retrieval. Now retrieval is one of those really important reading skills. It's the art of our vipers, and as retrieval implies, we're going to go in and we're going to get that information and we're going to bring it back. Now it's really important because up to 50% of our marks could come from a retrieval question. So there's a minimum of 16%, so there's a minimum of 8 marks and a maximum of 25 marks in a paper. So it's an incredibly important reading skill. That's in general for life, but in particular here when we're talking about reading assessments and things. And the more that we practice this, the quicker that we will get. We will start to make mental notes when we're reading, and we will start to almost put in little bookmarks. It's like, oh, that information's there, that information's there. And this is where most of our marks are going to come from. To be honest, most of us will get the majority of our marks from our retrieval questions. It's the one you start learning first, and yeah, it's one of the more straightforward and more simpler reading skills, and especially because in most cases we're actually given the answer in some form within the text that we are within the text that we're reading. So it's a case of going in and copying things. Now, there are some things that we really need to be aware of, and we'll cover them in just a second. But let's have a look at what some of these questions might look like. So it could be a where or when does the story take place? So in there we'll be going in looking for clues about where it's happening. You might need to put together lots of different things that you've gone in and you've found. Who are the characters in the book? So you may need to, sometimes you might have to match up the description of the character to the character. What's happening at this point in the text? And it will tell you a point of what's happening in the third paragraph, and you have to go in there and tell them what's happening. Through whose eyes is the story told? So it's talking about the perspective of the reader. What evidence do you have to justify your opinion? Write down 3 things that you're told about something, and which of these statements is true or false. And this is quite a common one, and you'll get a table and you'll be ticking if it's true or false. That's quite a common one, and it's normally, the table ones are normally about 2 marks, and that depends how many there are. But yeah, quite straightforward questions, and by that what I mean is easy to identify what it is we need to do. Now sometimes when we're either explaining or inferencing, it can be tricky to pick apart the question and sort of understand what the question wants us to do. But in a retrieval question, it's normally quite straightforward. You're going to go in, find the information, and bring it back. So how might we answer these questions? So what we're going to do is we're going to, as much as we can, try and remember what we've read. And now sometimes you might want to make little notes and things like that. That's perfectly fine. But how do we answer it? So what we need to do is 9 times out of 10, we're going to be going into our text and pulling that answer out. It might be worded exactly, if it asks you to find some evidence or a quote. It might be worded slightly different. But when we're copying a direct quote, so when we want exactly what it says in there, we use quotation marks. Now I have lost, I don't know, I'm not sure where my pen is, so I can't show you it there. So my quotation marks, can I use my finger? Are like that. They're like little apostrophes. And we can also use near quotes, and that's what I was talking about when we're copying something. It might not be worded exactly the same, but we don't need quotation marks for that. And sometimes you might have a true or false question. Sometimes you might have to draw lines to match things up. There's lots of different ways we can answer these questions. So what I want to do is, I want you to read the text. So just read the text, enjoy it, and it's what we call a non-chronological report. So we can just sort of read this in any order. I tend to start with the introduction, is the little paragraph underneath the heading, and this is about countries and borders, so the edges of those countries. So what I would read, make sure you read it all. You might want to have a look, just enjoy the text. I quite like a map. Look at all the different countries, look at all the different cities and the major cities and the capitals. Look at all the little pictures around the outside. We've got lots and lots and lots of information about the European Union. We've got some fast facts. We've got a key. Have a think about what that might mean. And once you've read it, what we're going to do is we'll answer these 5 questions together. So it says, name 3 countries that border Czech Republic. So what I'm going to do is I need to name 3 countries that border Czech Republic. So some of that information is going to be in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look for the Czech Republic. And now that looks like a very unusual word, but that is Czech. I've found it. It's right in the middle of our picture. We can see Czech Republic. It's next to Slovakia. And if we look at our key, we've got that red dot, and that's a capital city. So I know the capital city of the Czech Republic is Prague. If anyone's been lucky enough to go there, it's lovely in Prague. I have been there. It's a very lovely city. So, name 3 countries that border. What does border mean? If you think about the boards we have in school, we have borders going around the outside. The border is the edge. So name 3 countries. So I can see the biggest one, the dark blue, is Germany. Next to that, going clockwise, we've got Poland. And then just below that, we have Slovakia. And then just around there, we have Austria. So any one of those 3. So we've got Austria, Germany, Poland, or Slovakia there. Really interesting fact. I had a holiday. If you have a look at Slovakia and Austria, I had a holiday to both Vienna and Bratislava. That was cancelled because of the lockdowns. And they are the 2 closest capital cities in the world. And that's why we were going. So interesting. Slightly sad. Anyway, let's move on. What is the total population of all of the countries? So now I'm talking about a population, and I'm talking about the total. So I'm looking for some form of numbers. So I'm looking around, I can see 20th century, 25%. I can see some dates. Oh, there, I've spotted it. In the fast facts section on the side, I've got like total land area, total population. Let's have a look. 743 million. Well done if you got that. List 5 capital cities. How do I know if they're capital cities? I'm going to look over on the right. We've got our key. And in there, so a key tells us what certain things mean in our picture. So we know those red dots mean capital cities. So you can list 5 of the cities that have the red dot next to them. You'll notice they're a little bit darker than the other cities as well. So we've got Budapest, Minsk, Warsaw, Berlin. Is that Ljubljana? Vienna, Bratislava, Budapest. Loads of them there. How much of Russia is within Europe? Now, I'm looking at the whole thing, and I remember back to when I was looking at the population. I saw a percentage, and it said approximately 25% of the Russian Federation lies within Europe. The rest is in Asia. So we know that 25% of the Russian Federation lies within Europe. Now that question could easily have said how much lies within Asia. So well done if you can work out how much lies within Asia. That is 75%, because 75 and 25 is 100%. How are borders indicated? So how do we know where the borders of these countries are? So just having a look at it, So remember we spoke about the borders were at the edge. What on there is clearly differentiating the countries? Now there are the colours, but that's the actual country that is. But if you look in between the colours, there is a white line. So a white line indicates our borders. So, well done if you got those questions. Here are our one Chile questions. So it goes, what is the total land area of Europe? Lisbon is the capital of Spain, true or false? So on this question, I just need a true or false. True means correct. That statement is correct. False means it's wrong. What is the world's smallest city? Now, remember, if you're looking at all the cities, all those dots are the same size, so there must be some sort of text in there that is going to help us. Which country has the largest population? Which one do you think has the largest population? And who does the Faroe Islands belong to? Now, the fact that they're islands would indicate they're not going to be on mainland Europe. So we're going to be looking at the sea around the edges. And we're going to try and find the Faroe Islands, and it's going to give some information about them. So good luck with those. Now, our 3 and 2 Chile, I'm putting them together because they're sort of the same. These are going to form the bulk of our marks, and they're normally, as I said, normally some of the more straightforward questions. So they're pretty much the same difficulty. I would expect most of us to be able to answer all of these questions. So, list 2 reasons that country borders have changed. So in there somewhere it's talking about country borders changing. Give me 2 reasons that they have changed. How many members did the EU have originally? So we're going to find something about the EU. Well done if you know what the EU is. It's been in the news quite recently. Well, it's been in the news for the last 4 years. The EU is the European Union. On which 2 continents is Turkey found? So we're going to find the country of Turkey. Think about it. What 2 continents is it found on? What is the capital of Bulgaria? So you might have to go in there. Some of you may know where Bulgaria is. I'll give you a clue. It's a Balkan country. When was the breakup of Yugoslavia? So Yugoslavia is no longer a country. It used to be a country, but it's been broken up into smaller countries. When was that? And what is the Russian Federation? So I look forward to seeing your answers. Remember, take some time on these because it's a really, really important skill. Now, some of these questions you may just pop to your head. I would say check your answers on here. We can't afford mistakes on our retrieval questions because they're so straightforward. This is where we get most of our marks. And also, we have to check to make sure we have these correct answers. So what I would do is I would physically try and put my finger on the information. Yes, that information's there. Yes, that information's there. That information's there. And I would double check.